A major unveiling Tuesday as St. Vincent's Regional Hospital announces plans for their brand new state-of-the-art facility. Full details on that announcement in just a few minutes. And according to the Montana Department of Justice, human trafficking increased in Montana from 7 cases in 2015 to a 1,900% increase, up to 143 cases last year. Now our local school district is working to prevent kids from getting involved. We'll have more on that. Plus, 1 week after hundreds of layoffs at the Siboney-Stillwater mine, communities like Absaroka, Columbus, and Big Timber are still reeling, and we talked to a family who's affected, looking for their next steps. We've got that story as well in just a few minutes. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Wednesday, November 20th. I'm Augusta McDonnell here with Miller Robson. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Good morning, Miller.
Yeah, cold out there.
It's cold out there. Yeah, you're
cold
heading
in
into
here.
Another cold day.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a little chilly in here.
Get a little fire going. Want to get in on this?
Sure.
Yeah, it is cold out there. Yeah.
Set off the smoke alarm.
Yeah. So we're coming off a cold day yesterday, another cold day today. We do have a bit of a warm up on the way, and then maybe some of the coldest temperatures of the year coming in for the season anyway as we get into the end of the weekend. And we'll break that down for you as we go along this morning. 37 yesterday for the high, so what, a good 7 degrees below the average, or low about 24, pretty seasonal. Top gust yesterday of 36. I mentioned we could have some strong winds yesterday here in Billings too, although the stronger winds over on the eastern side of the state, and they're still dealing with that this morning. It was a dry day yesterday, so we continue to see a drier than normal month, and of course we're digging the hole continuing for the year. And then the snow totals, well, we're just not in good shape with that, but we do have a chance maybe some snow as we get into the weekend here locally. Right now it's 22, feels like 10 right now at the airport. Winds out of the west at about 12 miles an hour across the area. We've got teens and 20s, a lot of us though in the single digits with the feels like temperatures. Look at that wind chill out there. It's a very, very cold start this morning, and of course those winds still a whipping over on the eastern side of the state, and that's why we still have lake wind advisories and high wind warnings in effect. Tell you all about that, and we'll talk about that bigger cool down coming in by the end of the weekend with the main forecast in just a bit.
All right, much to come, Miller. Thank you so much for tracking that. And our top story today, a major unveiling on Tuesday as St. Vincent's Regional Hospital announces plans for their brand new state-of-the-art facility. The new hospital, which begins construction this spring, will replace the current building. It's set to open in 2029. Our Charlie Kleps was there to share how leaders hope this new hospital will change the medical landscape here in Billings.
That brand new hospital won't be built far from where you're comfortable. It'll be right here in the heart of the medical corridor, basically right next door to the current St. V's hospital. It was a time for celebration Tuesday morning.
True honor to be here.
At St. Vincent's Regional Hospital announced plans for a brand new 737,000 square foot facility that will replace their current building.
It's going to be second to none when it comes to providing quality, safe, really technical care.
Hospital President Lee Boyle says the new facility will add a new level to their care.
We'll be able to open up more beds, more rooms, more ORs as we continue to grow, as the community continues to grow.
But it isn't just the medical advancements Boyles and others are excited for.
Super excited what this means, not only from us in a healthcare delivery standpoint, but what it means economically.
You'll see more employment, more private investment. That's going to help drive our economy.
Big Sky Economic Development Director Steve Arviskow says that the new hospital will add to an already thriving industry. Currently, 20% of all jobs in Yellowstone County are related to healthcare.
This investment just takes that role and responsibility as that healthcare leader to a whole new level.
Not to mention a 5-year construction process, which will bring workers and their business to the Magic City.
They're not working 24/7. The rest of the time they're out spending money in our community. They become a part of our community.
The project is expected to cost nearly $1 billion, though an estimated specific number wasn't provided Tuesday. What was provided? Some excitement about the future. Something that leaves longtime Montanan Boyles overcome with emotion.
To be a part of building a hospital, that just doesn't happen all the time. Just the impact it'll have. My parents have come to St. V's ever since I was, little, so yeah, it's big.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Charlie, thank you so much. The American Lung Association reports lung cancer is now the leading cause of cancer deaths in Montana. That data released as part of the State of Lung Cancer report. According to that report, the lung cancer survival rate rose 26% over the past 5 years. But when it comes to Montana, this state ranks 40th in the nation for lung cancer screening and 33rd for lack of treatment. Indigenous peoples in the state are most likely to be diagnosed with the disease. The report also called for states, including Montana, to pass legislation requiring insurance companies to cover biomarker screenings. And a Wyoming state judge strikes down an overall ban on abortion, as well as using medication to end a pregnancy. Teton County District Judge Melissa Owens says the ruling violates women's rights under the state constitution, basing it on the fact that abortion is health care. The laws were challenged by 4 women, including 2 OBs, arguing the laws harm health, well-being, and livelihoods. And on Tuesday, Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon called the ruling frustrating and says, quote, "I remain committed to defending the constitutionality of this law and the sanctity of life. I've directed the Attorney General to review the opinion and prepare an appeal." That, of course, now going to the Wyoming Supreme Court. We'll continue to keep an eye on that case. Back in Billings, School District 2 is highlighting the dangers behind human trafficking. Superintendent Dr. Erwin Garcia hosting a community meeting with the group Northern Lights, hoping to educate parents and students on this growing crime. In fact, according to the Montana Department of Justice, human trafficking increased in Montana from 7 cases in 2015 to 143 cases in 2023. That's an increase of 1,900%. There's also been a lot more resources applied toward human trafficking in that time, which could affect those percentages. Our David J. has more on the warning signs.
Dr. Garcia has been having some community meetings to deal with safety, inviting parents and teachers. And on this night at the Career Center, he dealt with human trafficking.
This is my mom. She was 4 years old in this picture. Within a year, she would be raped by a male family member and sold to neighboring farm boys for the next 4 years of her life.
Penny Ronning, co-founder of the Yellowstone County Area Human Trafficking Task Force, talked about the trauma that child sexual abuse victims suffer.
Damage happens to hips. Damage happens to the spine. Damage happens to the shoulders. Damage happens to internal organs.
And she says victims get misdiagnosed for much of his or her life. Ronning spoke at Superintendent Garcia's community meeting on protecting kids from human trafficking.
Social media, cell phones, multiple social media applications where predators are looking to get the attention of our children, and in many instances take advantage of them.
Kids have access to it every day, all day long, and the percentage is really scary.
Taya Keith is a coordinator at the Northern Lights Justice Center, which provides a safe place for children and adults experiencing trauma.
Kids are bombarded with porn and just adults that are pretending to be kids, and things like sextortion. And I mean, it is alarming.
She advises talking with children and checking phones and other devices, something Garcia also recommends.
Extortion happens, so we want to make sure that our families are aware that this is a real issue in our community.
We've got a long way to go before we actually really address sexual violence in our country.
In Billings, David J., MTN News.
David, thank you so much. And a downtown bar and music venue in Billings, Craft Local, is getting ready to shut its doors. The venue, which moved to Montana Avenue in 2017, will host their final show on December 14th of this year. The decision comes after Craft Local has seen a steady decline in attendance of music shows over the last 3 years. This announcement comes just weeks after another popular Montana Avenue restaurant, Uber Brew, was forced to shut its doors. Uber Brew's brewing company, called By All Means, does remain open. And 1 week after hundreds of layoffs at the Siboney Stillwater mine near Nye, the communities of Absaroka, Columbus, and Big Timber still reeling. According to the Montana Department of Labor and Industry, those 700 laid-off workers account for 16% of all mining jobs statewide in what is Montana's highest-paying industry. The impacts are being felt across southern Montana. More than half of all jobs in Stillwater County and 37% of all jobs in Sweetgrass County are worked by people residing in nearby cities like Billings, Laurel, and Livingston. MTN's Andrea Lutz caught up with a Billings family caught in the crosshairs, now forced to pick up and move to a new state to start a new life.
With moving boxes packed,
we still have a lot to do
and more to do.
We're leaving Thursday or Friday.
The Haney family will set out on a cross-country trip to South Carolina.
It's a 4-day trip, so.
The young family only lived in their newly built investment home for 4 months when Terry got the devastating news.
We thought Everything was looking a little more promising. I think we were all kind of blindsided by the number.
Back in September, the Siboney-Stillwater mine handed pink slips to 700 miners, struggling to compete with slumping precious metals prices.
I was a miner. I was in the stopes, breaking the rock. There's a lot of guys who didn't know where they were going to go. Sorry.
Breaking rock and building bonds.
Brotherhood.
For 6 years at the mine.
Build those brother-like relationships with a lot of guys down there.
Shanda says their young family depended on his good-paying job.
So there were a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of just researching what our options kind of were, finding a new career path for him, and me maybe going back to work.
The couple thought they'd be growing their family in Montana, now facing a new path.
It's scary and it's hard. We've never left. I've never been farther than 3 hours from my mom.
But with support from other mine families and more boxes to pack up, they're embracing this new chapter.
He's faced a lot, and all those guys have faced a lot, and it just is like they work really hard for our families.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.